Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about peripheral arterial disease. It is the narrowing of the peripheral arteries. Peripheral arterial disease is commonly caused by atherosclerosis and it is usually affects the aortoiliac and infrainguinal arteries. PAD mostly affects the lower limb than the upper limb due to the great muscle bulk and the poor anastomotic network in the lower limb. Patients with PAD develop ischemia due to the occlusion of the arteries. In this picture shows how our vascular compartment organized. Basically, lower limb is starting from the abdominal aorta, then common iliac, internal iliac and external iliac, common femoral, superficial femoral, popliteal and anterior tibial, posterior tibial, peroneal arteries like this. What are the risk factors for developing of peripheral arterial disease? Smoking, diabetes mellitus, hypercholesterolemia, hypertension, thrombophilia, and age more than 70 years are very risk for developing peripheral arterial disease. And what are the causes for developing peripheral arterial disease? These are atherosclerosis, thrombosis, thromboembolism, trauma, thromboanginitis obliterans, emphysema disease, vasculitis, and entrapment syndrome, fibromuscular dysplasia, and drugs. These are the causes for intermittent claudications. When we talk about atherosclerosis, it is the deposition of fat, cholesterol, and other substances in the arterial wall. So what are the risk factors for developing atherosclerosis? It can be divided basically modifiable and the non-modifiable risk factors. In the modifiable risk factors, there are the smoking, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, dyslipidemia, obesity and lack of exercise. In the non-modifiable, age, sex, male are the most predominant and genetic factors. This picture shows about atheroma, how atheroma develop, and next picture shows what is the normal artery and how atherosclerotic artery appear. And then we talk about thrombosis. Thrombosis is a rupture of atheromatous plaque. It can be due to trauma like penetrating or blunt injuries or iatrogenic like arterial punctures. This thrombosis leads to acute ischemia and acute or chronic ischemia. This picture shows how thrombosis develops. Next, I am going to talk about thromboembolism. In thromboembolism, it can be developed due to heart, post-MI, cardiac aneurysm and atrial fibrillation. From aorta, it's aortic aneurysm atherosclerosis. This leads to acute limb ischemia. When we talk about acute limb ischemia, it is sudden decrease in the blood flow to a limb. It can be result potential threat to the viability of the extremities. How we identified acute limb ischemia? There have 5 P's like pain, paresthesia, paralysis, pulselessness, pallor, perishing cold. The duration of the ischemia is important as ischemia beyond 6 hours is irreversible and resulting limb loss. When we talk about chronic limb ischemia, it basically has claudication and critical limb ischemia. In claudication, it is a stable disease. It is occur pain when walking. When we talk about critical limb ischemia, it is rest pain, especially at night, and the tissue loss, non-healed ulcers and gangrene. What are the differential diagnoses of peripheral arterial disease? These are spinal canal claudication, osteoarthritis, peripheral neuropathy, and venous claudications. When we talk about level of the occlusion, In aorta-iliac obstruction, it was claudication mainly in buttock, thigh and calves. It has femoral and distal pulses are absent in both limbs. Bruit can be seen in over the aorta-iliac region. It is associated with impotence. It's called Lerche syndrome. When we talk about the iliofemoral obstruction, it was unilateral claudication in the thigh and calf, and bruit can be seen over iliac region, and unilateral absence of femoral and distal pulses. When we talk about the femoropopliteal obstruction, it was also unilateral claudication in calf. Femoral pulse palpable with absent distal pulses. In distal obstruction, the femoral and popliteal pulses palpable, but ankle pulses are absent. Claudication in calf and foot. How to measure ankle brachial pressure index? Check dorsalis pedis posterior tibial systolic blood pressure and take the higher value. Check both brachial systolic blood pressure and take higher value. This can be divided the ankle SBP from brachial SBP, and this value between the 0.9 to 1.3 is normal. Less than 0.9 is clinically. When we talk about investigations, firstly we have to imaging of arteries by duplex scan, conventional angiogram, mean DSA, digital subtraction angiogram, CT angiogram and MR angiogram. And we can investigate general conditions like HB levels, glucose level, diabetes, check the diabetes mellitus, lipid profile, hyperlipidemia check, and kidney function also we have to check, and ECG and echo check due to MI angina to check. And how we manage the peripheral arterial disease patient? Basically control the risk factors and treat comorbidities, and exercise, foot care, drug treatment, and radiological interventions, surgical interventions and rehabilitation. I'm going to talk about one by one. Basically we have to stop smoking, and we have to promote exercise by improve the walking distance, because it can enhance development of the collateral vessels, improve endothelial function and muscle function also, reduce cardiovascular mortality. How we foot care? We have to avoid any traumatic situations and treat and prevent fungal infections. And we have to introduce footwear and treat infections and wounds promptly, treat callosities like this, etc. And the treat comorbidities is very important. We correct HB levels and control the medical condition of diabetes mellitus, dyslipidemia, hypertension, ischemic heart disease like this. We can introduce drug treatments like antiplatelets, statins. Yes. When we talk about radiological interventions, they have a thrombolysis and angioplasty and stenting. This picture shows angioplasty, how it is done, balloon and stenting. When we talk about surgical intervention, it has embolectomy, thrombectomy, endarterectomy and bypass surgeries, amputation and sympathetic denervation. Embolectomy and endarterectomy, it's remove atheromatous plaques. This picture shows how it happened. In bypass surgeries, it can mainly with vein grafts or artificial grafts. This picture shows how it is done. And finally, we can do rehabilitation like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and we can introduce, if he has limb amputation, we can introduce prosthetic limbs and psychological support. I hope you get something about peripheral arterial disease, and thank you very much.